Hello and welcome to this, the third video that I'm creating, introducing the Enneagram of cosmic laws. Now, the Enneagram is often associated with personality typing, but the original Enneagram, as I explained earlier, had nothing to do with typing of personalities, although it does have a lot to say about the evolution and development of one's own personhood and selfhood. And there are three laws that are symbolized in the Enneagram. And I dealt with the first, the law of one, in my first video, which is basically the law of unity and diversity, the fact that we are all part of an interrelated network of reality that is connected at a far deeper level than we can see just with our physical senses. It outwardly looks as though we're separate, but actually we are all part and emerging from one interconnected whole. And I went into some detail on that in the first video. It's the law that governs all relatedness, or the way we relate to one another, to nature, to the universe, and to the ultimate, what I call universe being, the ultimate source of all. The second law I introduced in my last video was the law of three, symbolized in the Enneagram by the triangle. Now, the first law was symbolized by the circle, so this is symbolized by the triangle connecting points 3, 6, and 9. Remember that there are 9 points around the Enneagram because the Enneagram simply means the diagram of 9, actually, a Greek term. So that was the law of three that governs how anything new comes into being. It's dependent on there being an interaction of three independent forces: a positive, affirming, active force, a resisting, negative, passive force, and a third reconciling, neutralizing force. And I explained that in my last video, and how it is relevant for creating anything new. And then in this video, I'm going to briefly say something about the law of seven, which is symbolized in the Enneagram by a hexad of lines that crisscross the Enneagram, connecting numbers 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, and 7 in that order. The law of seven governs how anything that exists is changed and evolves, and it's represented in the Enneagram symbol by a hexad of arrow lines, as I said. So essentially, the law of seven states that there are no shortcuts in the evolutionary process, or to the process of developing anything. I wish I had known when in my 20s what I know now, and I would have probably saved myself a lot of hassle and heartache and blind alleys that I've gone down. But the fact is, I couldn't have arrived where I am now without 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 the long way round, as it were. So this applies, as I say, to ourselves as individuals. It can be applied to a civilization or a society. One thinks of the rise and the fall of empires, or to the human race as a whole, as well as to the development of an organization and the creation of a work of art or the development of a business. But in applying it, you need to understand what those steps are and why we might get stuck at certain points. Movement around the circumference of the Enneagram circle, starting at point 0 at the top and moving to 1, 2, 3, and so on, represents stages of a process that takes place in ordinary time, much as the hands of a clock go round ordinary time. And at each point, a specific principle or law comes into play. At each point, a certain kind of vibration has a certain kind of vibrational energy. So points 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 9 are like the notes of an octave with a vibrational energy. The higher you are, then the higher the vibrational energy. And point 9, of course, being one octave above point 0. So that's why this law is also called the law of octaves. And like the notes of an octave of music, the higher the note, the higher the frequency of the energy. But points 3 and 6 are hazard points where the energy that initiated the process loses momentum. And to move past the hazard, you need to put an input of extra energy. And I explain all of this. And the arrow lines represent the flow of energy between points. And now that is happening in what the Enneagram calls eternity time, a dimension of reality that is outside of time and space. Now, I explain all of this in great detail in the new course that I've developed. It has been an evolving course actually, which I'm calling the Enneagram of Cosmic Laws, and it's going to be hosted by the Edinburgh International Centre for Spirituality and Peace as a live teaching sessions once a fortnight on Thursday evenings, beginning, I believe it's on April the 4th. I've got 8 modules, and each module has 2 or 3 teaching videos. But in order to enable people to experience what we're talking about, I also introduce you to practices that will get you engaged with the topic. Now, if you want to access this, you need to go to the Edinburgh International Centre for Spirituality and Peace and the website, eicsp.org/events, where you will see a link to my course which describes the course content in detail. And if you want to find out more about this before you engage in it, then go to my YouTube channel at Ken Webb, or search my name, and you will look out for the Ken Webb that's interested in spirituality and spiritual growth, and you'll find me. And incidentally, in this course, I integrate the ancient wisdom understanding of this that is symbolized in the Enneagram with modern insights of psychology, modern science, cosmology, as well as reflections on theology and ancient texts in biblical texts, some of them which have been badly misunderstood and misinterpreted. So anyway, if you search for Enneagram on my YouTube channel, there are videos about the history and the origin of the Enneagram and how it developed and evolved over the centuries, as well as basic information about what the course is all about. But if you want the details, I'm afraid it's only available on via the esp.org website at the moment, where you can register to participate. Compared to a lot of courses that I've seen and I've done myself on the Enneagram of Personality, it's not at all expensive. And you'll so I hope this has piqued your interest and you'll follow this up. Anyway, that's enough for this video, so I'm going to close this and wish you all the best. Bye.